All right. I'm going to try and make this one a little bit brief. This is assessing 2 presidential terms by need if elected United States of America. So I'm filming this Saturday, 6 July 2024. I am Tanis Coralie Leonardi, she, her, hers of Seattle, for an introduction. So this is kind of talking through my United States of America presidential bid for the 2024 general/presidential election in terms of assessing need for a second term in the scenario of being elected for a first term. So in the 2020 presidential/general or general/presidential election, I received multiple votes for President of the United States of America, VP, Vice President, running mate, Hillary Rodham Clinton. Then presidential primary, I categorize myself as a Democrat because I had to vote either for this year, 2024, and I voted for myself as Democrat. People could vote for me. It had to be Democrat or Republican, so perhaps there were votes on both sides of the aisle. There we go. And so then for this upcoming 2024 general/presidential election, so those two already happened. The one to come is 2024 general/presidential election as of filming this. And running party, you can, as a write-in candidate, so it'd be as a write-in candidate, same as the past two elections I've mentioned. I don't think all states allow that, but ours does, Washington State, the state. And so it can write in the person and vice president, so going with Hillary Rodham Clinton again, and then can put political party or not. So I tentatively, Boston Tea Party, same as 2020. And so there we go. That's kind of my introduction. So for background for my election voting, I'll link to my election voting playlist. And this is going, okay, how do I ascertain if I would run or would need, or I guess that'd be would I run again for president, and I'm going by need is kind of my criteria. So term 1, I've mentioned this in a previous video. I talked through 4 focuses for as part of my presidential bid for 2024. So focus 1 was asexual rights, focus 2 was the environment, focus 3 was misinformation, and focus 4 was refocusing aid. So that's term 1, okay? So get elected, me and my VP, Hillary Rodham Clinton, we're focusing on these things. Here comes, the next election. How do we assess if another term is necessary? So let's go into, I came up with 3 scenarios. Let's go with this scenario of no term 2. So what would give rise in not running? So if I have made 0 progress on any of the 4 focuses, perhaps I should not run again. So there's a way of saying, if I get in there and nothing's happening, and then being like, no, I'm not going to run again because I should step out of the way so somebody else can get in and hopefully get something done, right? So that's, for me, it's just that simple, right? Like if I have only 4 focuses and none of them make any progress whatsoever, I'm just going to maybe no term 2, okay? So that's 1. There's 3 scenarios I'm covering. So then the next scenario is scenario of term 2 being non-consecutive. So I think the only person in my lifetime, I was born in the early to mid 1990s, that this would apply to would be Donald Trump. Everybody else has gotten 2 consecutive terms. All right, and he's running for re-election again. He's somebody I'm competing against this 2024 general/presidential election. Yeah, this makes the second time I've run against Donald Trump. Okay. So he's the most recent and relevant per current and recent United States of America president. Right? He hasn't had his second term, but if he were to get reelected, it would be non-consecutive, which again would be, so if that happened for him, he would be the first in my lifetime, right? He'd be the minority of all presidents in my lifetime. He'd be one of a kind, right? And so that would be one. That would be this that's kind of like scenario of no term 2. So like, let's say we get in there and we make no progress on any of the 4 focuses, and then somebody else gets elected president, and then all of a sudden it clicks, or some organization or something happens socially, and there's like means for me to work on those projects based on what I've already have in the presidential experience, right? And I was like, identified maybe these are the reasons these focuses aren't progressing whatsoever. And then out of presidency and something changes and it's like, aha, now's the time to run, right? Like something has changed such that I might be able to make progress. So in terms of scenario of term 2 being non-consecutive, that would be like a stepping back and waiting for things to fall into place or develop, right? They might not develop, so that's why I'm not to run again, is I don't want to waste a second term, right? Sometimes the smartest decision is being like, it's not here now, step back and maybe it'll come about, and if it comes about, then run. So that's the non-consecutive. And then the third scenario of term 2 being consecutive. So that would be, and so that's currently the norm for my lifetime, right? There's only one president in my lifetime that's not true for, Donald Trump, right? He is the super minority in that sense, unique. With the catch there being, I'm not including Joe Biden in this because he has not finished filling or serving one term as president of the United States of America as of filming this. So, yeah. Currently, he's still on the term 1 stage, right? He's not in his second term, so, and has not finished serving his first term. So, so here it would be consecutive if progress is made on any of the 4 focuses. I think, yeah, because even if it's like, it might be like, but if it's only one category, why not take a break and, you know, wait for things to align? Well, things might not align, right? So progress on one thing instead of nothing is progress. We don't want to step back and have no stars align, so to speak, right? So progress on one thing, and then if there's only one of 4 things working, see if we can tie the other focuses into the one thing that is making progress, right? Can we see if we can re-gear or refocus the other focuses so that we might be able to make progress in a way that connects into the one that is making progress, that kind of thing. So there we go. In conclusion, I was like, can I come up with a scenario, or not a scenario, focus or something that might come about that would be like, how do I handle this? Okay, so I was like, well, war, right? That's not any of my 4 focuses. So I was like, if China attacks El Salvador, VP, Vice President Hillary Clinton is going with our soldiers. Yeah, that's right. It's like we gotta have on the ground, like if we spent right, refocusing aid. So being like, if something like that happened, there goes VP. All right, we gotta have good medics. Right, there go our soldiers, and there goes the Vice President to be on the ground with the troops as applicable. Because something tells me she'd like that. So there we go. As on assessing 2 presidential terms by need if elected, United States of America, me, Tannis Corley, Leonidas Sheeher, Seattle.